Were there any memorable moments while filming? Of course, the contest itself was memorable, but have you been able to capture some magic moments?
So my favorite scene in the film, and I think I've seen it now more than 10 times, is that the sophomore girls song leader, Ka'ai, her song was from Molokai, and so she felt it was very important to go back to that island and find out where her song was from. So there's a scene in the film where her uncle is welcoming her into a sacred kukui grove. And the night before, she stayed up and wrote her own chant, her own oli. And we deliberately made the choice not to subtitle it, not to give a translation of the chant in the film. And it's just incredibly beautiful. And we've screened the film now on the mainland. And what's interesting is that even people who have never heard Hawaiian before or have never come to the islands are incredibly moved by that scene. And I think the power of that moment is that through the voice of that young girl, you really see the past and the present and the future all at one time. And it really exemplifies the mission of Pacific Islanders in Communications, which is that when you put these faces and these languages on the screen that have never been seen before or heard before, you don't just lift up the Hawaiian people, you ennoble the entire human race. And it really is exemplified by that moment in the film.
Thank you for sharing this very touching story. What is the message of the movie?
I think the message of the movie really is one voice, but I think actually Dr. Chun from Kamehameha School says it best at the very end of the film, which is the song leaders, the youth who are in the film, they're not of the past or tied to the past. They're standing on the shoulders of their ancestors. They're contemporary, modern teenagers who are texting and on the internet, yet they're using their language, they're celebrating their culture. And I think as I said, for everyone on the planet, I think the message of the film, what I want people to take away from when they see this film, and certainly one of the reasons I wanted to make it, is that everybody should be so grateful and excited and happy that the Hawaiian culture not only survived, and the Hawaiian language didn't only survive, but it's thriving. It's a living, breathing, meaningful language. And there's an anthropologist, Wade Davis, and by his estimations, every 2 weeks on the planet Earth, an elder who is the last living speaker of a language dies. And with that person passes not only the language, but all the thought and all the possibilities and the metaphor and the art and the beauty of that tongue. And so when I see one voice, I want the audience to feel, as I do, how incredibly grateful I am that through these children and through this competition, this song contest, these language and these songs have not only survived, but they've really flourished and grown.
Yes, this is one of the great things I feel about the movie. Think of these disappearing languages like endangered species. We take great measure to save the planet, the plants, the animals. We should not forget about our precious cultural heritage, our languages, not only the Hawaiian language, but lots of other languages spoken by minority groups. They are just disappearing.
Yes, exactly. The same way we protect the biosphere is you want to protect the ethnosphere. And this language and this culture and this thought. I mean, the other thing I think is really exciting that the film shows through the lives of these students is that it's not just speaking Hawaiian, it's thinking Hawaiian and acting Hawaiian. And sometimes it doesn't matter what language you're speaking, whether it's English or Hawaiian, it's are you thinking Hawaiian and acting in a Hawaiian way. And one of the great joys of, now that the film is completed, but of the opportunity to get to spend more time with these young song leaders, is that they really do exemplify that. It's who they are, it's how they live their lives. And I think it's really important to show that to the world and to celebrate that when we can.
One last question. This film is going to be shown at Sunset on the Beach on October 23rd in Waikiki. This is going to be a great event. Anything special lined up for the event?
Yes, we have, and we're working on it right now. I can't release the names, but a lot of the former song directors are now very famous local musicians in their own right. So we're pulling together a bunch of them to play on the stage before the film begins. It's a gala premiere, part of the Bank of Hawaii Made in Hawaii series at the Hawaii International Film Festival. There's a screening on October 15th, which is a Friday, at the Dole Cannery Theaters, and then the following Saturday, October 23rd, is the big screening at Sunset on the Beach. So it's going to be a wonderful party. Lots of the Ohana will be there, and we certainly encourage everyone to come out. It's a film for the whole family. And we certainly encourage everyone to come out and watch One Voice and be a part of this celebration of Hawaiian culture.